What's going on, everybody? Welcome to The Obsession. I'm Carl Bethke.
No, I'm Mike Stadler.
Mike.
Yep.
You know, we just took the picture here and posted up if anybody's got any questions. So I'm looking at the face hole machine here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's do this one. Tide Mather asked, how do you work through a tree stand shot progression when a deer normally drops when they hear the arrow release? Rusty's already got the answer. Rusty put one out. He says, what distance are you shooting? The bows nowadays, I don't think it's possible within 20 yards. Well, Rusty, it is possible within 20 yards because a deer reacts a lot faster than you think. I believe the number that was quoted is 700 feet per second,
Yep.
which is crazy fast to an alert deer.
Until your equipment shoots over 700 feet per second, they can duck it or jump it.
Yep.
That's
how fast they are.
That's a fact.
At 20 yards.
That's a fact.
And we filmed it multiple times
Yep.
where deer have ducked our arrows. And our arrows are traveling, both of our bows. Mike's is a little faster than mine, but basically 300 feet per second. That being said, Rusty's right on the grounds that a non-alert deer at 20 yards probably not going to duck your arrow.
Yeah, probably not.
And I think that's what he means by it, a non-alert deer. Honestly, I aim top heart. But here's the deal. If that deer's close like this year's buck,
yeah, you gotta have more of it.
when you look at the entry hole, it would be like high in his shoulder, and it came out down low on his chest. So, I think most of it, to be honest, comes from experience for aiming references.
Yeah, it's kind of hard because, tree stand height, compared to yardage of the animal is always going to be a little different of an angle.
Yeah.
I'm always more on that pin of that shoulder.
Yep.
I just,
we're offside shoulder shooters, Ty, to be honest with you.
Shoot where you want it to come out.
Yes. That's exactly right. Shoot where you want your arrow to come out. That is correct. Don't automatically assume every deer's going to duck your arrow. It happens.
Because I'm a believer that if you start shooting like that, you're going to mess yourself up more times than not.
You're going to injure more deer too.
Yeah, because a lot of them don't duck unless you got some bang, boom, and bow going off.
Yeah.
That they can. I don't know what you're shooting for equipment, but unless they're alert, they're usually not going to.
Or at longer distances.
Yeah, or at yardage. If they're at a yard, anything over 30, now you're going to tickle it.
Yeah.
So stuff's got to be a little more on spot on that one.
Yep. Honestly, I don't shoot whitetails normal circumstances, at least in the state of Wisconsin, past probably 40 yards. I think 42 or 43 yards is the longest whitetail shot I've ever had in Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. We get out to North Dakota where shots can be 60 yards. They will obviously duck. They're going to hear that arrow go. Hear the arrow coming, actually.
And they're alert when they do it.
And they're 100% alert.
Yeah.
So at that point, you're guessing. Yeah. As for a shot sequence for that, I run through my normal shot sequences, and I'm assuming what you mean by shot sequences, your draw cycle, whatever, and then your aiming reference, If you're hunting Texas, where I hear deer are a little more alert all the time, well, that's because everything wants to kill them constantly.
Yeah.
There's probably some pressure issues there. They have a tendency to duck. Most people I know that hunt down in those areas aim center heart or low heart. Hopefully that would help that decision. Sequence-wise, draw, peep, scope, aim, frame, pin, squeeze. That's the sequence I go through.
Yeah.
I don't think Mike's is any different. We shoot the same equipment. There's too many variables to really try and answer that question.
Yeah.
Hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, aim where you want it to come out. And make sure. A lot of people always think, deer was broadside. Was the deer really broadside? they're normally not broadside.
No, that's
Normally,
actually a big misconception.
Quarter to you a little, quartered away from you a little, and that makes a huge difference. You know, a couple inches on one of those shots could mean recovery or no recovery.
Oh yeah.
You know, so and like I said, heights of your tree stands is going to determine your angle on your shot.
Yeah.
You know, so
he could be meaning, aiming reference. If your pin's set at 20, that deer is even closer.
yeah.
That's where a lot of people get confused. If you're shooting at a deer like the buck I shot this year here at Mike's freak show, he was 12 yards.
Yeah.
And I've got my pin set at 20. I aimed low, and the arrow went in high and came out right where I wanted to on the opposite side. And what I mean by aiming low, my pin was at the bottom of his chest, because I know from practicing and shooting a lot that at that shorter yardage, my arrow is actually going to impact higher than the pin location. This is just how the mathematics works on archery equipment. So if you're sitting there shooting some of the shots we shoot in competition when they want to shorten the overall range,
Yeah.
if you're averaging like a 40-yard shot, all of a sudden then you got let's just say a 4-yard shot. Well, what yardage do you shoot it for? Guess what? On my bow, it's about 52 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll hit dead center where that pin is. Right? Because you've got the angle references at the shorter yardages. So that's something that most people make a mistake on. That and shooting down, not bending at the waist, and changing their square up on their form.
Steep, short shots are harder than longer shots.
100%. Yep.
That same shot on that deer, 10 yards further down,
Yeah.
you're shooting him totally different.
100%.
And you're
And
at the
right
same
on.
height. Yeah, you're just going to put it on and drive.
Yep.
You're 20 and he's at 25. You're not going to aim a lot different.
No.
But he's still going to get it.
Yep.
So
Yeah, that's something you really need to practice, to be honest with you, Ty. But if you are really that close, you need to practice knowing what your difference is in your arrow, so you have to know consciously what your equipment's doing.
I'd say the biggest thing that's going to save you problems is don't assume what the deer's going to do.
Yeah, 100%.
Because you're probably going to be wrung, because none of us can know that.
Yeah.
And I think it'll probably cost you more animals than
Yeah.
if you just shoot it how it is, I guess.
Yeah.
Easiest to say.
That pretty much covers it. We appreciate the question, Ty. Thanks for listening. Thanks for checking it out. Hopefully that answered your question. If you got any other questions, be sure to leave stuff right down there in the comment. If you guys want to listen to the podcast, check us out at Spotify, Google, iHeart, Apple.
RSS.com, Amazon.
Also check out our pretty faces right here at YouTube. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Hit the Reaper in the lower right-hand corner if you want to check us out on Instagram. It's Rush Outdoors WI or The Obsession Podcast Hunting.
Yeah, buddy. New year.
New deer, baby.
Yeah, buddy. Got some questions that have come into us. Carl, why don't you start one off?
Oh, let's see what we got here. Leg day.
Leg day?
Leg day.
That's Monday, so...
Let's see. This one's from Bill. He said, can you guys talk about your 10% hunting rule on how you look at it every season? Do you pass big bucks on purpose to let them get bigger for age? Well, our 10% rule. Our 10% rule starts with we are hunting the top 10% of the bucks that we have going on and off of each property each year, which are usually 4-year-olds or older.
Yep.
Not always,
Yep.
but usually.
Yep.
And then after that first week, so that's the first week.
Of our vacation.
Yes, of our vacation. And probably the first whole
We'll clarify
setup
that,
of hunting season.
Yeah, the whole beginning of the year until our first week of vacation, which is the last week of November.
Last week of October.
Or October, sorry.
And then the first week in November we take off. Come the second week, any Pope and Young 3-year-old that walks by Mike or I, we're going to shoot it.
Yes, sir.
And that's how we run our program.
Yeah, I mean, we let deer go.
We do.
I mean, normally it's because we're after a certain one.
Right.
Those deer, then again, like you say, are not safe. The second half. Dogs.
Dogs are here.
You know, people ask us that all the time about, you know, the deer that we're going to shoot. I mean, we'll shoot a 3.5-year-old buck. If that's what we have to hunt, that's what we have to hunt. Our properties are what they are. Obviously, we want older deer. Everybody does.
Yeah, well,
you got to take what you can hunt. Well, we do. We take what we can hunt.
Well, that's kind of how I look at it. I'm like, let's just say the oldest deer on your property is a 3.5-year-old. To me, that's the deer you hunt, because that's all you have. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I mean, if you have other places to hunt where you have older class deer and that's what you're after, then go ahead and hunt those spots. But if you're hunting your own property, or I'm just saying on private property, and the oldest deer on your property is 3.5-year-old deer, that's the trophy buck on your property that year. Mm. If you are one of those people that wants to hunt older class deer, then I think the 10% rule probably doesn't count for
See, that's what I think people don't understand on this. So is we're going to hunt them deer.
Oh yes.
If I have one 3.5-year-old buck that's here, mm-hmm. that's the deer we're going to hunt when we're here.
Right.
And if we get him, we get him. If not, we're not going to let him go.
No.
You know, you know, and vice versa. Say we have 5 old class deer here.
Right.
And on your property, we're only seeing 2.
Yep.
Well, then we're probably going to hunt here more.
Right.
Because we're going to try to take them out.
Of course.
You know?
Yep.
But that's the benefit that we have.
That's the benefit we have.
We can kind of go back and forth between the two. But we're going to try to harvest those top 10%. We're not gonna.
Right.
We're not gonna pass them up.
Now, as for passing older class deer, yeah, we'll pass our older class. I've passed deer. I passed a buck last year that I probably should have shot. It's bigger in score-wise, bigger in the deer I shot. You know, but at that time, was it 2 days after that when our normal vacation would start? Yeah. We're hunting the top 10% of the bucks on the property, and we had a few 4-year-olds that were on the property, so those were the deer we were hunting. So I let him go.
Yeah, I mean, we've let deer go before.
Oh,
we
yeah.
let them go on your property. We let, you know, not this last season, but the season before, I let 3 or 4 go here.
Yeah.
They actually all came back.
Right.
They're actually all dead now.
Yeah.
You know, we were lucky enough to get one of them.
Right.
But, you know, I guess you gotta make a decision in your own head what you want to do.
Yeah, don't you? I mean,
so,
you know,
we put a lot of work in, a lot of time in, and we want to try to harvest a good animal. And
our goal is to harvest a good buck every year. And now that we have our own properties and spend a lot of time, fortunate enough to have pretty good deer on the property each year, we plan on shooting a 3.5-year-old or older every year. A 3.5-year-old buck in Wisconsin, southern Wisconsin, where we are on both properties, is a Pope and Young deer.
Yeah.
And depending on what you have for neighbors, that's what it all comes down to, you guys. I mean, don't overthink the program. That's what I would say. If you overthink it, you're not going to shoot anything. You're going to have a bunch of unfilled tags.
Yeah, do what makes you happy.
Yeah. Well, there's a crazy thought. Do what makes you happy.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to try to take a deer every year, and it's not about killing a deer. It's trying to, you know, outsmart one time and, you know, take a shot at one. A 3.5-year-old buck to me is always going to be a good animal.
That's good. A
3.5-year-old buck's been through 4 seasons already.
Yes.
So, you know, that's.
You know, I bet most people don't think of it that way.
You never think of it when they're the yearling. That's 1 year they make it through.
Yeah.
Then they start counting them.
Yep. Yeah. If it's a nubbin, that's 1 year, basically. It's his first year.
Yeah.
6 months old.
You know, I mean, we've both been after bigger deer too, and not been able to, you know, connect on that, and have taken, you know, a class buck, I guess you want to say, in the same season.
Yes.
But, you know, and we still want to be successful. So it's.
Yeah.
You know, and okay, so the bigger deer, he made it. Okay.
Right. That's great. Next year he'll be even bigger.
He wins this year. So we move on to the next one. It's not you know, I mean, there has been cases, obviously, you know, when you hunt a shocker.
Yeah.
You know, we made that all come together and you got him, and it happens sometimes.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, you know, once you get out and you start doing that one individual buck, have fun.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of work, and it doesn't usually pan out.
No, especially depending on the size of your properties. If, you know, Wisconsin, Michigan areas where you've got a bunch of small properties, that's where you start to see, it's hard to hunt one individual buck. because he's even when his core area shrinks when he gets older, if he makes it that way or that far, usually he doesn't in heavy pressure areas. You'll eat a lot of tags. Hunting one individual. I did that one year, hunted one individual deer, and ended up not getting him and ate my tag that year. Or you put so much effort into it where you're so mentally drained. So like you and Johnny.
Yeah, I've done it a few times.
Yeah.
It's not any fun.
Well, I watched you that year. I mean, you just beat yourself into submission. You were so dead at the end, dude. It was rough to watch.
You know, when you were filming, we were I was letting nice bucks walk by and deer that I would have never let walk by.
Yeah.
Like I just wanted that deer so bad, and at the end of it happened, but it was I was drained. It wasn't even exciting at the end of it.
And after you did it, you decided at that point.
I said, I'm not doing it anymore.
Right.
And I did try, I try here every year for a little bit.
Yeah.
I try to, last year, King, the 10-pointer, that's the one I went after, and he disappeared, so I just shifted focus.
Right.
The year before, obviously, I hunted the landlord a lot.
Yeah.
And, he got shot with a gun. I didn't get him. I ended up shooting I think I shot a different one I think I shot that one over by Fox Lake. The deer I got, actually. I didn't even shoot one here.
Yeah, that heavy 8-pointer you shot at.
So, I mean, it's the opportunity was there, and I'm like, I took it.
Yeah.
I wanted the bigger deer, yeah. But
well, it is what it is.
Gift horse in the mouth.
That's the other thing you'll see with us is it's hard to pass up opportunities. Number one, you have to think of it this way. You don't get very many opportunities throughout the year. You practice all year, you set your property up all year if you're hunting private. You scout all year if you're on public. All the work you put into it for that one, maybe 2 opportunities a year to shoot a buck. It's hard to pass stuff. And if you're passing stuff, you have to ask yourself, are you passing stuff for you? Or are you passing stuff to try and impress other people? That's the thing I see most. We talked about a podcast here, a few weeks back, where we talked about an individual we both know has got really good hunting property. He's showing videos of 150-inch deer walking by, late October, early November, and granted, he has good hunting property, but then he's telling people, these are immature deer, I'm not going to shoot these, I'm not going to shoot that, they're not worth my time, stuff like that. That, I don't know, that's not me. No. So, not us, I would say. So, 10% rule, we hunt the top 10% of the bucks coming on and off our property.
Yeah.
And we start assessing that probably early July. And get an idea for the deer that we're going to see throughout the year. And then we decide at that point, these are the bucks we're going to be hunting.
Yeah.
So hopefully that answered your question. We appreciate you listening to the obsession.
Yeah, buddy.
If you guys want to listen to it, just listen to it on the podcast. You can check it out at
iHeartRadio,
Google Podcasts,
RSS.com,
Spotify, and one other, Amazon podcast.
Oh, Amazon.
Yeah, we're lined up with that one now,
buddy.
too. Yeah, I'm pulling in a new one.
Or watch on YouTube.
Check it out at YouTube here at Rush Outdoors, Wisconsin. We appreciate you guys.
Later.